So I feel like Trump really fell off because of stuff like this. 50-year mortgages aren't the American dream. He's introducing the 50-year mortgage. Who wants to be renting their own home for 50 years, bro? The issue with renting, like an apartment, is that after your lease is up, you're left with nothing. You've spent like, $20,000, $30,000 a year to live in this apartment, and you're left with nothing. You don't have the apartment. You don't have, any investment toward your future in terms of real estate. And when you're going to purchase a home, your goal should be to make that home yours in as short of a time span as possible, right? The 15-year mortgage isn't ideal, but it's certainly better than a 50-year mortgage. That's crazy. And you die before you pay that mortgage off and it gets put into your kids or your family. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Trump is disappointing. Sad that he's the best we can do right now. At least he's not Kamala cancer, but still. I hate that we as Americans have to always pick between the better of two evils. And that's even saying that Trump is the better of two evils, because we don't know how Kamala would have been as a president, but this is not it, man.
I spent last week in New York City doing a bunch of stuff with Fox News, and on every single show that I went on, I was asked, can you believe that Zohran Mamdani won? Yes, I can. That's literally not surprising to me at all. He won for the same reasons that Donald Trump won back in 2016 and in 2024. And they are unfortunately now two sides of the same exact coin.
Dude, you know what's funny about Zohran Mamdani? He's literally just like, let's make New York great again. Except instead of great, he uses affordable. Let's make New York affordable again. He's giving the people who live there, a sense of hope. And that's what Trump did in 16, right? So it makes a lot of sense why he won. People can't afford to live in New York City. And he was like, well, let's try to change that. And obviously people are going to vote for that. No shit. Who are the other options too? Curtis Sliwa, who I guess got shot and smoked weed to deal with the pain. That's all I know about him. Seriously. Maybe he's a good person. And then Andrew Cuomo, who I'm pretty sure is like Epstein 2.0, and no one wants to vote for that. So yeah, it's not good. I mean, that's kind of cooked that those are your options, but when those are your options, the guy who's like, I'll freeze your rent, I'll make a grocery store, which I don't know how that's gonna go, but where assumably the groceries will be cheaper, it's like, yeah, I guess I'll give it a shot.
So the battle for Gen Z and Gen Alpha voters just continues to wage on, but it really, in my opinion, as a Gen Zer, is not a hard nut to crack. And right now, the Trump administration and conservative Inc., they are losing the younger generations. And nothing that the Trump administration has done in the past week.
You know what's funny? Trump is losing the younger generation, but that's not because the younger generation is becoming more woke and liberal, which is like a common thing that Fox News is trying to say. It's not true at all. Young men are more right-wing than like ever, and young women are more liberal than ever. So the right is actually ditching Trump because he's not right-wing enough, which is funny. So if Trump really just stopped selling us out to Israel and started actually putting America first, then I think we'd fucking maybe see a Trump third term potentially, but he hasn't, right? And then he's also, caught up in the Epstein files, which is pretty fucking bad. He won't release them. There's a lot of things that he says that don't inspire confidence into his voters. Trump is losing them because he's not right enough and not fixing the economy. Yeah, that's another thing. It's like we have promises he hasn't delivered on, right? The whole cost of eggs thing hasn't really been fixed at all, which is not good when that's like one of the things you campaigned on. So yeah.
Is helping, to put it bluntly, because immediate relief, immediate affordability is not the same thing as long-term solutions, and that immediate relief that you're talking about might just screw over my generation in the long term, and that is why we're upset. Now, we're going to talk about this in a minute. Before we do, though, make sure that you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you have not already.
I got you, Brett. I got likes for days.
And of course, guys, click that notification button so that you always stay up to date on all of our episodes and you never miss a thing. All right, let's just jump right in here. So everybody's talking about Zohran Mamdani. How could this have happened in New York City? Guys, contrary to what some of the boomers are saying, Zohran Mamdani did not win because everyone in NYC is some kind of radical black trans socialist. Like, he won because he promised affordability. He won because he genuinely seemed like he was enjoying the campaign trail.
Dude, that's all that people really care about. Like, if you have candidate A who's like a total retard who thinks that trans people should be like given extra privileges and that children should be expected to get their gender evaluations when they're 5 years old, people will legit vote for that person if it like is a guaranteed that they will have 50% more purchasing power within the next 4 years of their administration. administration. Like, that's literally how it goes. They don't care if someone is a far left, like, retard who believes in like, the dumbest shit you can imagine, like, anti-white stuff. If they know by voting for this person, their life in terms of money gets easier, they will vote for them. Money is, like, the only thing that matters. Like, actually, in politics, your voters, if their lives are getting better because of the policies you've implemented, it's probably because the policies you've implemented makes it easier for them to either do business or buy stuff. One of the two.
He was everywhere. He was on social media. He was going viral. He was out doing Tai Chi with old ladies. He spoke to New Yorkers like a New Yorker from his small apartment in Queens. Meanwhile, the alternative, Andrew Cuomo, was sitting behind a desk making AI videos, living in Westchester, New York. Allegedly, he hasn't even lived in New York City since 1990. He simply registered to vote in New York City when he decided to run, and the address that he was registered from was his daughter's apartment. So it was very evident from the get-go that this man did not understand normal New Yorkers, as he wasn't even one of them. Like, nothing about Cuomo was authentic or relatable, but unfortunately, Mamdani was. And every single day, he talked to New Yorkers about the price of housing, the price of food, the price of transportation. And while I believe his socialist ideas are insane and will not work and will backfire, you can't really argue with the word free. You can't.
Yeah, the thing is, like, you can get into the whether it's going to work or not thing, because the practicality of something is obviously something you should be concerned about. But if you have a guy who's saying, I will make stuff free for you, are you going to say, oh, I don't know if that's going to work, I'm not going to vote for you? Or are you going to be like, whoa, free? All right, fuck it, we'll try it. That's what you're going to say.
You can't really argue with the idea of affordability when you consider the economy that we are currently living in. Millions of Americans are financially drowning right now. And so no, it is not a shock to me.
You want to know, like, I also thought about this too in terms of, like, the financial fuckery that we have to deal with. Dude, I also think, like, you know, I have DoorDash and I order a lot of DoorDash. You know, I'm a DoorDash demon. They are offering a promo where if you make a purchase using Klarna over $60, they'll give you $20 in DoorDash credit. If you take out a loan from Klarna, they'll give you $20. Dude, these pedophiles and rapists that are controlling our financial institutions need to be held to, like, some sort of, like, you know, punishment. Like, I sentence them to 1,000 lashes from whips. It's so fucked, the shit they can get away with. Really evil. Like, when you think of evil, there's a lot of evil out there. It's crazy how evil these companies are.
That New York voted for him. It is not a shock that my generation that is struggling to start in their careers and buy homes overwhelmingly voted for Zohran Mamdani. Just like it was not a surprise to me last year when Donald Trump won. Because the number one issue in 2024, I'm sure we all remember because it is still an issue today, the number one issue in the last election was the economy. COVID, lockdown after lockdown after lockdown, Biden, the endless wars, they were draining us. They are still draining us. It is why millions of Americans who were independent or on the left said, okay, fine, I will vote for the big bad orange man. I will dip my toe over party lines because hopefully trying something new will work. Hopefully my dollar will go further if I vote for the businessman. Because here we are a year after the election and very little has changed. And that's hard for me to say because I'm somebody who does enjoy Trump. I voted for him. I put all of my energy behind him. I genuinely believe in him and have believed in him.
And it's sad to admit when you're wrong, but a lot of people who thought Trump would save the day are feeling like they were wrong. Like, they know that their money isn't really changed. Their purchasing power hasn't significantly increased. If anything, it's decreased. There's a lot of other things that we spoke about in 2024 that haven't been resolved. And so the people who thought voting for Trump would resolve these things, they feel kind of ashamed and embarrassed about it. And I don't think that's something you should be embarrassed about, because if 50+ million people voted for Trump, that's obviously something where you're not the only one.
While Trump has been successful on some parts of his agenda, people are not feeling tangible change when it comes to the economy, and the clock is ticking and people's pockets are getting thinner. And I think that the New York City mayoral election was a major wake-up call to the administration, because now, over the last week since Mamdani won, it seems like the Trump administration is frantically trying to make moves to make Americans happy and keep them in Republicans' pockets. But I'm sorry, as a young person, as somebody who is in Gen Z, who will live to see the ramifications of these policies, I'm out. Like, this is not something that I can support. Like, the only positive thing that is happening right now that I can see is that Trump is looking into the meatpacking industry, which is something that my friends over at Good Ranchers have been fighting for.
Oh, LMAO, good ad read. But at the end of the day, I think one of the things he's done that helps us the most, I think as a young person, is political correctness and fighting against that. So Trump being somebody who says things that are not politically correct and somebody who fights against those things, he makes it so that everyday people are more able to speak their mind, right? You know, there was this whole meme of like, oh, if in 2016 you posted a pro-Trump meme on Facebook, you'd get fired. Dude, literally half the country is posting Trump memes in 2024 and nobody's getting fired. So I think that the whole cultural stuff is definitely beneficial. And I think there are, culture in some ways is a currency, and having the power in whatever culture you are a part of is easily the most, one of the most powerful things that you can have, right? Like the freedom of speech is not really something that you have if you can get fired from your job for speaking freely. And I don't want to take that away from him, but I also don't know how much of that was him versus how much of that was the courage from his voters and his base. He's done a great deal, but when you run a campaign on a million promises, he's just under-delivering. Yeah, that's also true, 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
Because for years, foreign-owned processors have held control over our responsibility, and Merrick is going to give you the roadmap. Now, back to the point, and back to everything that Trump is proposing right now, we witnessed in 2021 and 2022 what happened with the stimulus checks the first 3 times. The fact that it gave people brief relief during the lockdowns and then completely screwed over our economy in the long term due to how much money was spent that our government did not have, that our government should not have been spending. It gave relief in the interim, but we now know, as many people were saying at that point, that it spurred inflation. And now, 3 years later, in a seemingly desperate attempt to get the economy back on track and make people breathe a little easier and feel better like he promised, Trump is floating the idea of $2,000 stimulus checks for all Americans I think making under $75,000 or $150,000 together in a dual income home.
Yeah, I think that money's going right to DraftKings or Prize Picks. Like the CEO of all these gambling companies are like just rubbing their hands in glee. They're like, "Oh, Trump, please put these stimulus checks out, dude. All these broke households that are putting all their money on 15-leg parlays. We love this. We love this, right?" Listen, I don't mind giving people in need money. I think the government should do that to some extent. But it's like, dude, we know a lot of these people are poor in a lot of cases because of their own financial illiteracy and poor decision making. So if you think that by just giving them more money, you're solving the root cause, you're not. You can't just throw money at this problem. The money is going to set itself on fire. Like they're just literally going to order more DoorDash and Uber Eats, or like take their baby mama on like a dinner date, going right to CS:GO skins, maybe.
From his tariff revenue, which in my opinion just seems like a recipe for accelerating our inflation rate even more when it is still so incredibly high. His admin is also throwing out the idea of 50-year mortgages to help struggling Americans get into the housing market have lower payments.
That's not good.
50-year mortgages. We're not going to get the rates.
You're going to fucking die before you own a home, dude. I'm 21 years old. If I have a 50-year mortgage, I'll be 71 before my home is paid off, dude. Fuck you, Trump. Seriously, dude. I don't want a 50-year mortgage. I don't want banks to be making fucking billions of dollars off of the backs of struggling Americans. That's not going to benefit these. That's what I hate the most about this is the deception. The idea that a 50-year mortgage will help struggling Americans and not just help banks that are making more money than ever off of interest. Interest is fucking gay, okay? Interest is making money for giving money to people temporarily and then getting it back with an extra payment on it for giving it to them in the first place. So you've made money for not providing a service, not by giving them, a material asset or something they can actually benefit from, by giving them a fucking loan. Interest is gay as fuck. Okay, I understand that it has to exist in order to stimulate some financial stuff. And I know it's not the biggest problem in our country, but the idea that a 50-year mortgage will be better for the average person, is fucking retarded. You need to be shot in the head if that's something you believe.
Now, we're not going to lower prices, nothing like that. No, you are just going to be in debt longer. This post went viral thanks to President Trump. We are indeed working on the 50-year mortgage, a complete game changer.
That's
this is something
so
that
terrible.
He actually posted. This is a graphic he posted on his own Truth Social account.
Dude. Yeah, interest is literally not allowed in the Bible, and Trump he claims to be a Christian. We probably don't think that's true. But your goal should be to make as much money as possible and to buy a house with it. Like my goal, I'm going to be so honest with you, like man-to-man, viewer to streamer right now, my goal with the YouTube is just to make as much money as possible so that I can own a home at the youngest age, right? Obviously, I want to entertain people. That's the goal of my content, is entertainment, to help people, think critically about why they believe what they believe, and to offer information and insight, right? So entertainment and all those other things, right? But the money side of it, all the money that I make is going toward my home. I live in an apartment, okay? And when I get out of my apartment, my immediate goal is saving up for a home. Homes are expensive, and I want to get a nice house. I'd probably want like $1 million home at least, which might sound crazy, but if the down payment's like, a few $100,000, then I have to work hard for it. And I don't think it's wrong to want to live in a nice house. I don't think it's greedy. I think you should aim for the moon, and even if you miss, you land upon the stars or whatever, right? Like, I want $1 million home at least, bro. Even in $1 million home, if you look at some of these homes on Zillow that are $1 million, they're not even that big. So yeah, it's not ideal at all.
Are good intentions here. It would help people get into the market. It would make your monthly payments lower. But that also means that if you bought a $500,000 house in 2025 with the current interest rates, at the end of those 50 years, you would have spent $1.5 million on that house. And the majority of the time that you would be making those monthly payments, you would be paying the interest rate. Like, that is something that absolutely shocked me when I bought my first house and I was looking at my, direct deposit, my automatic payments, and they distinguish it on your bank statement. So you can see whether you're paying interest or your principal payment. I barely pay off any of my actual house. I'm only paying the interest rate to the bank. So imagine doing that for 50 years. And yes,
it's
I know
slavery.
People are usually not.
It's debt slavery, dude. I'm not here to be a slave. I'm not here to be some fucking, serf and just to live in eternal serfdom. I'm here to be a free American patriot, own a home, use capitalism as my blade, and to slice down my enemies with it, okay? To outperform and to succeed against the lazy fucks that drain from the system, and to make myself a person who has succeeded for both my friends, my family, my future children, my lovers, if I have multiple. Maybe I'll go polygamous if I have that much money. At the end of the day, I'm here to get bread. Life is like a sandwich. Whichever way you flip it, the bread comes first. And if you think a 50-year mortgage is something that anybody is fucking jumping up and down for, you are a gay retard. That's it.
Staying in their homes for 50 years these days. But again, this is not a solution for the root problem that we are facing, especially as young Americans who are desperately trying to get in to the housing market. And thankfully, seriously, almost everyone has called this out as being a terrible idea, from Crowder to Glenn Beck to random accounts on X. Like, everybody is saying, no, this is not a solution. Like, I'm sorry, but that is basically the Trump version of the World Economic Forum idea that we will own nothing and be happy.
Literally.
You'll never own your home outright. You will never be able to get out from under the debt, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's like eat the protein bugs and never own your home, dude. Imagine that. Like, that's like, bro, fucking BlackRock owns more homes than any American will ever. Like, you can, how many homes do they own? It's not even funny how many homes BlackRock owns. And, Trump, I don't think he gives a fuck. It's just sad, dude. He fell off so hard.
Because you'll have a house to live in. Like, at that rate, just keep renting, because then somebody else, has to deal with the yard and will come and do the maintenance and fix the roof if it's leaking. Like, why at that rate would you even want to try to buy a house? Again, it does not actually solve the problem. Wow, amazing. Yay, guys. The economy is fixed. Are we so excited, Gen Z? No, like, this is not a real solution. This helps no one but the big banks. And yes, it makes things more affordable in the short term, but it offers no real financial freedom or long-term stability as inflation continues to skyrocket and wages stay stagnant. Now, in response to these ideas, there were thousands of angry comments, shocked comments. There were many memes that were made. This was my personal favorite response. Not Jerome Powell said, "You took out a 50-year mortgage?" Yes, Dave. You also took out a 15-year car loan? That's correct, Dave. And it's the disappointed Dave Ramsey. Like, somebody needs to do a wellness check on Dave Ramsey and Caleb Hammer, because I guarantee these men are not okay. They are fighting against this on a daily basis. And now Donald Trump's ideas are simply going to make all of this worse. Now, anyway, these ideas are absurd, and I'm grateful that people are pushing back on them. But what was most offensive to me,
I think another problem is that this is gonna fuck with Republicans' chances of winning in 2028 so hard, because JD Vance is likely to run for president in 2028, and he will have to answer for so much of the bullshit that Trump has done throughout the years. And I can already see it, right? The first debate, he's gonna be up on stage. People are gonna be asking him, why did you support Trump in this? Why did you support Trump in that? He's gonna have to hold Trump's dirty laundry, and it will be a nightmare for him, because of his, position as vice president, it'll likely be that he is the Republican nominee for president in 2028, and it will be impossible for Democrats to distinguish him against MAGA, because he is part of MAGA and he's part of everything that Trump has pushed for. And Trump, the only person who can defend Trump now is Trump, and he's not going to be able to do that because he's not getting a third term. So JD Vance is going to have less time, talking about his vision for the country and more time talking about how, when he was first seeing Trump, he saw a lot of potential, but later on things got rocky, and it will all be him having to defend what Trump did. It's not going to be a winning strategy. I'm more worried about the midterms. I don't even know what's going to happen in the midterms at all, but I just know that in 2028, JD Vance will not be the president. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe the Democratic candidate is so much better. And I'm not a political expert, and I could be wrong, but I just do not see it. I don't see JD Vance being able to unshackle himself from the chains of the MAGA movement, the parts of Trumpism that have really turned Americans off, and his poor performance. Bro, why so anti-Trump is why you fell off after the Mr. Beast drama? Are you retarded? Like, what are you talking about? Being anti-Trump in what way? Like that I don't like a 50-year mortgage? Are you high? Are you smoking crack? I supported Trump's fucking, I supported him to become president, but then he underdelivered on his promises. He's not lowered the price of everyday items in any capacity. His fight back against woke has, mainly been because of other people. And the changes we've seen in culture haven't really been because of him, but more so the commentators who support him and do daily shows changing the opinions of people. Like, what are you smoking at all? You're a fucking retard.
This week, especially as a young person, was that now our current administration, the Trump administration, is saying that actually, guys, there isn't an affordability crisis. I don't know what you guys are dealing with, but no, things are not expensive. We do not have an affordability crisis. This is from Newswire. There is no affordability crisis, Trump officials insist. Yeah, right. Okay, so the gaslighting from politicians
that's absurd.
Continues. And they dug their heels in. I mean, look what Trump just said in a new interview with Laura Ingraham.
So, are you ready? Costs are way down. So when I took over, you remember?
Because you said Biden did that too, because he was saying things were great, but things weren't great.
It's synonymous, Biden and Kamala, because you didn't know who the hell was campaigning. I mean, it got to a point. So I was up by 20 points on Biden or some crazy number. And they said, all right, let's get him out. We'll put a new one. This never happened to anybody. All of a sudden, I have somebody new.
Okay, why are we talking about the election? Why are we talking about Kamala campaigning and Biden? Like, that was a non-answer. Yes, maybe Trump feels frustrated. Maybe he feels caught and backed into a corner because he hasn't been able to deliver fast enough and everybody is angry. But for the love of God, please stop gaslighting us. Stop trying to divert our attention. How is this any better than Biden trying to redefine the word recession to cover his ass and spending years claiming, no, inflation's fine, inflation's actually going down, everything's great, we aren't in a recession, when we were very clearly in a recession.
And why are people saying
any source daily goods have not dropped? Do you know what the consumer price index is? Do you know what inflation is? Do you know what shrinkflation is? You are the dumbest motherfucker I've ever had the displeasure of looking at in my chat. You're banned. Never speak again. Shut the fuck up. I should rub soap in your mouth for speaking to me that way, asking me for a source like it's not common knowledge, dumb idiot monkey.
they're anxious about the economy? Why are they saying that?
I don't know that they are saying. I think polls are fake. We have the greatest economy we've ever had. We will have
He said the polls are just fake.
over $20 trillion come into our economy, and it's largely because of my election, but it's also largely because of tariffs.
This is happening from both sides. It is so tiresome.
It's the gaslighting,
are you not
bro.
exhausted yet? I am exhausted. Somebody also posted this and said it was the Sydney Sweeney format. It said politicians saying the economy is great. Me after paying all my bills.
Markets are cooked, bro. Crypto is down. Most things are down, bro. Investments are down. People are getting eaten alive.
Literally. Americans are still struggling. This just ran on Fox last week. Listen to these numbers.
Prices are up in the United States for coffee. It's up almost 20%.
Brutal.
Utility.
For the guy who was wondering what the source is. Consumer Price Index, you fucking monkey! Utilities, electricity, vehicle repair, coffee.
11.7%. And then electricity is up 5.1%. And vehicle repair, if you need your car fixed, it's up 11.5%.
And these are
thanks, Donald.
just some examples. These are just a few categories. These are things that Americans are facing every single
Nick Fuentes, if you can hear me, come save me, Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes, if you can hear me.
day. Meanwhile, the dream of owning a home and starting a family feels out of reach for my generation. In a new poll just from a couple weeks weeks ago, it was found that the median age for first-time homeowners is now 40 years old.
Dude, 40 years old? We're cooked. We are actually so fucked. Dude, oh my god. 40 years old is when you're getting your house? Yeah, I may as well be dead by then. Let's say you want to hop on steroids at age 21 and looks max and try to actually get your, appearance up, get your muscle up, get a higher PSL. Then you shorten your lifespan to age 30, and so by age 30, you don't even own a home, so you die before owning a home. That's crazy, bro. You die before you own a home in these days. Huh. What a joke.
First-time homeowners. That is a record high. I think that the median age for repeat home buyers is now 61 years old. Now, in addition to that, Google searches for second job are also skyrocketing. So I'm sorry, no, you will not.
Dude, this is insane. Second job reaching all-time high, man. Jesus, bro. Y'all gotta get on some side hustles. I'm gonna be honest. Hey, I'm not here to be a good person. I'm just here to give you guys the, ball. Wow, I was a little burpy there. Here's some ball knowledge, okay? If you are in serious need of extra money, I'll give you a little unethical life hack. If you go on Reddit and you find replica sneaker websites, just buy the replica sneakers and sell them as if they're what's called unverified authentic. Basically, like they're real, but they're not verified to be real. You sell them on Facebook Marketplace for like a little less than the retail price, and then you make some money. The people who bought it are happy. You're happy. Everyone's happy, okay? Not advice, though. Don't take the advice. I just made that up. Nothing I said was real. It's all CGI.
Convince me
in Minecraft
that our economy is superb, that we are on the right track. Like, no, that is just not real. And maybe things are inching along, maybe things are getting better, inch by inch, but we are not feeling it. And voters need that. They need that reassurance because things are hard. Like, what are we doing? We're sending money overseas. We're fighting online over Israel and Ukraine. We're fighting over how much more debt we can get our country into. We are renovating the White House. Like, young people, I'm sorry, do not care. We genuinely do not. Like, at this rate, the quote unquote culture war is not even appealing. Like, people my age do not care about owning the libs. We care about owning homes. That is what my generation cares about.
Literally so fucking true, dude. At a certain point, it gets tiresome making fun of blue hairs when you're broke. It's like, oh, libs get owned. There's only two genders. And then it's like the person you told that to and you both have zero money. Who cares?
But also, it isn't even just my generation. Also, this was really funny and like such kismet. But as I was putting this episode together, like sitting at my computer, pulling all these assets, these dismal numbers and abysmal ideas, my sister-in-law, who is my age, she texted me this. She said that people were giving her a hard time about going to the movies. And she said, I was like, y'all, it's like $15. And they said, that's expensive. And I'm like, question mark? That's way cheaper than going out to eat or doing anything else. And they were like, what are you eating, girl? And I was like, good food. And they were like, I can't afford good food. And then I'm like, okay, sorry, I don't know what you want me to tell you. If I'm 36 and I can't afford to go to the movies, just kill me. And that is just one funny text and one example. But so many young people, when I talk to my generation, when I read the comments, when I'm, scrolling online on
Dude, I'm gonna be honest though, if it's that bad, all the people who typed into Google second job, look at this. Every person who looked up the second job stuff and how this is going up in search trend, more people are looking for a second job than ever. OnlyFans.com is waiting for you. Listen, if it's this bad, bro, it's time to hop on OF, okay? Let's get those cocks out. Let's get the titties out. All right. We're all fucked. Everyone's drowning in debt. You may as well be naked while you're doing it, huh? Hey, when you're in the swimming pool, you're wearing a bathing suit, right? And if you're swimming and you're drowning in debt, you may as well take that swimming fucking outfit and put it on OnlyFans.
She said that people were giving her a hard time about going to the movies. And she said, I was like, y'all, it's like $15. And they said, that's expensive. And I'm like, question mark? That's way cheaper than going out to eat or doing anything else. And they were like, what are you eating, girl? And I was like, good food. And they were like, I can't afford good food. And then I'm like, okay, sorry, I don't know what you want me to tell you. If I'm 36 and I can't afford to go to the movies, just kill me. And that is just one funny text brutal, and one example. But so many young people, when I talk to my generation, when I read the comments, when I'm, scrolling online on TikTok, so many young people feel as if they are staring down the barrel of a gun because we have now experienced Democrats and Republicans in power and it feels like nothing is getting better. And my sister-in-law, I will tell you, she is not somebody who is eating out at fancy restaurants every night. She is not splurging and buying a bunch of new fancy clothes. Like, she went to the right college and got good.
Yeah, it's all happening in the wealthiest country on earth as well. How fucked is that? It's like, you think of all this stuff and you're like, are we in Kyrgyzstan? Are we in sub-Saharan Africa where there's no water? And you're like, wait a second. No, it actually, I'm in the US. I'm in America right now, and people can't eat eggs. That's like something you would joke about when you're younger. Like, oh yeah, they can't. Bro, they don't have water in Africa. Bro, we don't have water in America. Like, bro, a Dasani water bottle is like fucking $5 or something. Like, we're cooked. It's over. Everything is up. Everything's more expensive, dude. We're like no better.
Grades and got a normal entry-level job in the industry that she wants to pursue. She lives modestly with roommates. She's getting married. She cooks at home. She basically eats ground beef bowls and sweet potatoes for every single meal.
And you're not helping her? You're a fucking multimillionaire, bro. Pitch in.
And she also feels this way. Now, obviously, there are...
Like, what, bro? If I had a sister, or if I had like a brother or a sister, and I was like this rich, and I'm Brett Cooper, I'm giving them a few $1,000s. Are you kidding me? Bro, she probably got over $10 million to her name. She's not helping out. Yeah, she eats ground beef bowls. Why do you have to expose her like that? That's so brutal.
Are elitist.
Yeah, my sister's a poron.
In our generation who feel entitled to everything without having to work or the struggle. Those are, the quote unquote champagne socialists in our generation. Those are the ones coming out of the left, the high end.
Brett Cooper is so fine. Yeah, she is a baddie.
Universities, but I don't believe that that is the case for the majority of Americans. It's just normal, everyday Americans who feel chewed up and spit out by our political elites on both sides. So I'm sorry, but they are going to vote for whoever seems like they could shake things up and deliver. Last year, it was Trump. In New York last week, it was never going to be Cuomo, ever. Hence why Mamdani won. Meanwhile,
if you thought Andrew Cuomo was gonna win, bro, who is supplying you with the drugs you have to be taken to reach that sort of conclusion? Andrew Cuomo is like a pedophile rapist who is like a turbo Jew who cares probably more about Israel than New York and is like, yeah, I want to visit the Holy Land. It's like, dude, what? Brett needs them to be poor, builds character. Yeah, true. She has to maintain a few poor siblings so she can, relate to the common man. She keeps these people as poor as possible as a person she can reference when she talks to her audience. Like, yeah, this probably seems like somebody who would be subbed to me.
There's an absolute clown show happening on the right. The right is screaming at each other over who can platform who and whether free speech has exceptions. And Antifa is raging in full force, seemingly more emboldened than ever. Now, what you just saw as I was talking about that was the disgusting display that happened outside of the TPUSA event that took place at UC Berkeley this week. Fights were breaking out, attendees were threatened, people were getting beaten up. Protesters stood outside, literally celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder.
Yeah. The fuck is this? TP belongs in the dirt. Fascists have small dick energy. Bro. Oh man, I'm gonna hold back here. Immediately I'm ripping it. I'm just trying to say it. You know what I'm saying? Immediately I see these people, I'm just trying to say it.
I mean, that is disgusting. And again, they feel more emboldened than ever. Antifa was literally labeled a terrorist organization by Trump. But is that all? Is nothing else going to be?
The thing is, you know how she was saying, we're tired of owning the libs. We just need to be money. We just have to have money and make our way out of the trenches. I see these people and I'm like, never mind. We have to go back to owning the libs, bro. These people are so fucking sick in the head. These are disgusting pig swine. Literal subhumans, bro. Just fucking subhuman, depth groveling losers. Absolutely nothing to show for their time on this planet, bro. Just protesting and talking about a guy who was assassinated in this way. Just truly disgusting people, bro. All sub 5, by the way. All hideous people. I might not be the most attractive man on the planet. Not really, though. I am super hot, but these are all just very dysgenic, hideous looking creatures. Very gross looking people.
I mean, that is disgusting. And again, they feel more emboldened than ever. Antifa was literally labeled a terrorist organization by Trump. But is that all? Is nothing else going to be done? I'm sorry, again, people are just exhausted. But that wasn't always the case. I mean, we had about 3 glorious months of unity and revolutionary spirit after the election, but that's done. This person on X, Drunk Republican, summed up everything that so many people are feeling. They wrote, I remember well the night of the last presidential election. I'm sorry, this is a long post, but stick with me. is important. Trump's victory represented the greatest.
I was with my old roommate on the night of Trump's election, and he doesn't drink. We got shit-faced because we were so happy. We thought the country is going to be back. He's going to save us. Things will become affordable. Wokeness will be gone forever. He'll fix the retardation crisis, inflation. All of these things would be gone. Nothing really changed except he's in the Epstein files, bro. Crazy.
Redemption arc of my lifetime, and it felt like we all played a part. The energy was unmistakable. It was as close to a revolution as most of us will get. A true democratic rebuke of an out-of-touch, corrupt government. It was only a matter of time before we turned the country around. For a brief second, it felt like we might. The market soared, companies promised new jobs stateside, and Doge uncovered waste and fraud daily. But the dream suddenly soured. Almost out of nowhere, the administration pivoted from policies aimed at generational prosperity to those associated with perpetual poverty. 15-year car loans, 50-year mortgages, $2,000 stimulus checks, hardly the stuff of a golden age, unless you own banks that finance this stuff. And as prices once again rise, the president is insisting that we are better off than ever. It is insulting to so many, especially after living through the laughable denial.
How would you fix the economy? I would get rid of the US dollar and have us all trade with little nuggets of gold.
Of the previous administration. I am one of the biggest Trump supporters on the planet, and I say this out of genuine concern. This is a recipe for defeat, not only in the midterms, but for 2028 and onwards as well. I don't want to be a panickin', but I also don't want to piss away the last chance we have to turn this country around. The president desperately needs people to be honest with him about the situation on the ground. His victory last November feels like 1,000 years ago, and the statements coming from his staff are unrecognizable from the usual DC claptrap they supposedly ran against. Millennials and Gen Zers are hurting, and together, they represent the largest voting bloc in the country, and they will remain so for years to come. There are better ways to make life affordable, and young people want and deserve an economy that allows them to flourish. Once they acquire a taste for free shit, there will be no going back. The American dream will officially be dead, and millions of voters will forever associate MAGA with its decline. Welcome to the midterms. Welcome to 2028. This is the barrel of the gun that we are looking down. Now, I want to read you another post, and I'm sorry I'm reading a lot of things, but my friend Savannah Hernandez, who I just adore, I think she is so smart. We are usually on the same page about everything. She does on-the-ground reporting for Turning Point. She also posted this. I'm tired of based social media videos and big talk from the admin with zero follow-through, and she gives a bunch of examples. And she says, this is why the right wing is divided. Because Americans voted to feel safe, prioritized, protected, and every time we try to voice our concerns, we are labeled as anti-MAGA, anti-Israel, or anti-Trump for bringing forth substantial criticism of the direction of the party. I have watched the right wing implode over the last 2 weeks, and the reason we are is because so many are afraid to legitimately criticize the admin. It is our job to openly put the pressure on when we don't feel the country is headed in the right direction. If we refuse to do so, we are no better than the entire left who refused to criticize Biden for his entire administration. Like, mic drop. Like, this is where we are. This is literally the turning point. Now, thankfully, I do believe that we are better than the left and we have less groupthink, because I am seeing critiques of Trump. People are pushing back. He will put out policies. People will say, absolutely not, and he walks them back. So at least it seems like he's listening some of the time, I guess. But that doesn't mean that we are totally headed in the right direction. And then
probably not. My guess is that his legacy will probably be ruined. I hope it's not, but it probably will be. I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike, and I'll see you guys all next one. Peace.